Hi there, this is take 3. Last time we were filming the video, it just started playing Paul Simon Graceland and stopped making the video. I'm not sure why that happened, but my phone was acting up. Just giving you a quick update tour. If you haven't seen the first tour, last week I gave a much more detailed tour of this restaurant. This is going to be the next Clover restaurant here on Boylston Street. I've got Jane here with me today because we were working on putting up the latest poster here. And we're going to change these out every week. We're going to have different blog posts, so I'm excited to do that. This picture here, Lucia made, I didn't see it before now. First, I didn't like it, but I'm sort of warming up to it a little bit. And if you want to do this at home, we found this is working really, really well. So we're using this repositional adhesive so that these come down without leaving too much residue behind. So you spray it with this, you leave it for like a minute, and then you put it up. And the benefit of doing that is that unlike something like this, which is flapping, you get like a really nice clean mount, like right to the edge of the glass, and the whole thing looks really good. All right, coming in, I'm just going to update on some of the things that happened this past week. So this was all tile right here and over there as well. Mini Grow has tile in the kitchen, and then they had tile coming out here and here. And we're going to leave the tile in the kitchen. It's not the exact tile I would spec, but I don't like the idea of tearing up good tile and replacing it with another tile. On the other hand, the tile in the customer area, I just don't think it belongs there. I think it's not consistent. You have to wait for me. I'm just making a video. Good. Other thing that's going on. So this is all going to be repaired now. This is just what's left over after like pulling the tile off the wall. Mini Grow did this texture paint, so we were going to have to do some repair work on this wall anyway because I don't love that look either. It's not very cleanable, and I don't think it's not what we're going for. So this whole wall will be cleaned up. It'll just be clean white sheetrock. We're also going to paint up a little higher. I think I might have mentioned this the other week. That line is like 8 feet down from the ceiling, maybe 6 feet. And then that plus these lights that were dropped gave the whole effect of the ceiling being lower than it actually is. It's a really high ceiling here. And we want to get that full feeling of height. So we're going to take these lights down, change the lighting in here, and then we're also going to paint up a little bit higher. So that hasn't been done yet, but just to give you a preview of what's ahead. I actually read this the other day, and I was wondering, what does that say? And it's a little bit hard to read, but it's a Notorious B.I.G. Lyric. So I'm not totally sure how it fit in, but that's what was going on there. This one just said order pickup. I love neon, but there's obviously nothing we're going to reuse on that, so that's all coming down. A bunch of stuff going on here. This water filling station was over here. It's come out because we don't have room for it right there. We're going to have water like we do at all the Clover restaurants for customers to do self-serve and hopefully bring their reusable bottles, but it's not going to be that same piece of equipment. This is called a die wall. I hadn't ever heard that term before I was building restaurants, but it's what everyone calls these. So it's like a structural wall. It's strong, and it holds up your counters and things like that. We are going to try to reuse this so we don't have to build an entirely new one, but we need to move it this way a little bit. So we had to clean it up and take all of the pieces off of it. And then we're going to try to reuse the core of this, move it forward a little bit, and then build it out as our wall. So that's going on right now as well. This equipment is left over from Mini Grow, and it's getting picked up and scrapped. So this will all get recycled, all this metal. We don't have use for it. This is where the hood was, and this was like the first job that was done at the start of this week. We just got our building permit, and the first thing they did was the HVAC folks came in. They took out the hood that was here, and they took out, right there's a hole in the wall. So there's ductwork that went up and over through that hole and then into an air handler that's in the other room there. We're keeping all the rest of that, but they're just replacing this hood with a larger size hood. So they just moved what they need to put the bigger hood in here, and the contractor needed to see behind here to know where the pipes he has to work around. The next thing that happened is the electrician came in and pulled all the wires that might be in the way. So you can see this is the drop ceiling, and it's been opened up right now, and there's a light up there, so you can see up there. It's just tons and tons of void space. I think it's sort of wasted and too bad that we can't recapture this, but this is just, there is stuff up here, but there would have been a way to run all these ducts closer to the ceiling and maintain a lot of this space. But as it is, we're going to just work with it as it is. So it's open right now while we do electrical work on it, but then we're going to close it up again with some new tiles. We're going to keep this grid, but with some new tiles on it. I think that's most of what's happened this week. There's a little bit more to point to. So these studs here, these are called metal studs. So most construction that's done right now uses these. It's like, works the same way as a wood, like 2x4, but it's made out of metal, so it's, I think it's a little more rigid, it's a little more light, and I think it's also a better fire rating. So a lot of commercial construction uses this. So this had sheetrock attached to it, and this was a wall here. This is coming down. It's not a structural wall. It was, you can see it just ends right there. So it doesn't support anything. It was just created to create a little division here. We'd rather have it be more open. So as I walk back here, you'll get to see, so that area is going to be open, so you'll be able to see more of the kitchen. In general, this kitchen's not going to be as open as most of our kitchens. Generally, you can see every single thing, even our dishwashing. But in this restaurant, we're trying to work with what's here because this restaurant was just built like 9 months ago. And so we're actually going to, we're going to leave, you know, the bathrooms where they are, for example, and work with the dish room where it is, even though it's out of sight of customers. So not always our preferred, but we also don't want to do a lot of unnecessary work. And I think from an environmental perspective, it hurts me a lot to tear up stuff that could be used. So we're doing our best just to change out surfaces and finishes and not throw out anything more substantial if we can avoid it. Last thing I'm going to point to, so this, actually you can see one over here. So there's a frame here, and we didn't know what that panel was. Turns out it's a big sheet of metal. So this is what it is. I'm not sure why it was there. I mean, the only thing I can think is like maybe Mini-Gro was thinking to put magnetic stuff on there, but it was a big sheet of metal with like a picture frame on it. So that came off. There were some counters here and seats that I think nobody ever really used because it was like an awkward place to sit. So that's all coming out too. So you can see the framing for that's coming off. And there was also a counter along that wall that came off. So most of what we're doing right now is just pulling back some of the things we know we don't want to make sure our contractors have a good vision into what we are doing and what they need to work on. So this is sort of exploratory right now, and setting us up for the next stage. I'll give another construction tour next week. Hopefully we'll have some awesome progress to show. We're hoping the whole project comes together really quickly. The thing that we're going to have to wait on the longest, I think, is getting our, we're going to have a big table here and the other furniture and stuff like that. It takes a little while to get built. So we're hoping that we get this all finished and then that's the last thing to arrive, but that's probably going to be what determines the final timeline. All right, I'm going to sign off. Want to say bye, Jane?